Okay,
Cool.
so I'm here with my friend Ned Dwyer, founder of Great Question. Ned, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for making the time.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to chatting about this role. But first, let's talk about Great Question. This is relatively new business, and I'd be curious how it came to be and what exactly it is that you're up to.
Sure. So, great question is customer research on Autopilot. It's everything from customer interviews, prototype tests, and surveys, and then sharing what you learn with your team all in one place. So, we launched on February 8th on Hacker News. We've been growing at a massive pace since then, and customers that
Nice.
use and love the product include folks like Adidas Runtastic, O'Reilly Media, Linktree, Main Street. Um, where we came from is kind of interesting, actually. So my co-founder and I, we've been working together for 10 years now.
Oh, wow.
Um, and at our first company, we didn't do any research. We just didn't, we talked to customers, but it wasn't really formal. There was definitely no structure to it. And there was no ability to go back and like mine that research for like insights.
Hmm.
And so as a result, we actually missed out on this huge opportunity that when the company got acquired by GoDaddy, we realized we have this huge blind spot. We'd missed this huge opportunity that they'd nailed. And so we're like, never again. Um, so yeah, so that's sort of how it came to be.
That's cool. That's very cool. And so, how big is the company right now? Like, how many folks are on the team?
We're four people.
Nice.
So my co-founder, myself, another engineer and a designer.
Okay. I'm so happy to know that content is at the top of your list because I could imagine there's probably plenty
Number
of other
one.
roles you could be hiring for.
Yep.
Why content? Like what are you hoping to achieve by like investing in a person and investing in content marketing?
Yeah, so there's a few things. Like one is no one, our customers that use the product like froth on it. They absolutely love what we're doing. Like our scores are off the charts, but no one knows we exist. No one. Like the only way people found out about us is like a little bit of word of mouth, a little bit of like cold outreach, my own network. It's like happenstance that people have found us. And
Hmm.
so really we need to tell the world about how we're changing the game when it comes to customer research, tell the world about the case studies about how we're making our customers successful. And these are big names, like Adidas, like, Main Street, like Linktree, like Honeybook. Um, and then, but it's not just about telling the world and sharing our stories. It's also about creating content for our existing customers. So whether
Mm.
that's, a newsletter to keep them engaged, whether it's like social media, communicating latest product updates, things like that.
Yeah, that's
Um,
interesting.
yeah.
I could imagine that to zoom in on the content for existing customers bit for a second, I could imagine that there's a world of like inspiration you could provide those folks to help them become more customer centric companies over time. Like it's one thing to run a survey
Mm.
every now and then. It's another thing to like kind of like tune in to what customers are saying on a very regular basis.
Totally. And like that's our mission, is about making research not just this like nice to have thing that you do like, once a year you run a survey or something like that, or you have your NPS or CSAT plugged in. It's like, no, it's actually every single sprint that you're doing, you're talking to customers. Every time you launch a new product, you're talking to customers in the lead up to help you like discover and like shape what that product experience is going to be. And then once you've launched it, you're doing more to make sure that you actually hit the target, and what's the next iteration.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so yeah,
Is there a service component to Great Question, or is it all product?
at the moment it's all product. We do. I would say it's pretty high touch.
Yeah.
Like I'll spend time with customers, like putting together research plans and guiding them or whatnot. But mostly it's the product.
Okay.
And so the product is really three things. It's panel. We help you build a panel of your own customers who want to participate in research. It's then the research methods. So we make it super easy to schedule interviews or send prototype tests or surveys through our tool. And then it's this a library of all the things that you've learned from customers over time, that you can go to find previous insights, or create new reports to be able to say, like, this is why we're building this. It's because of these lessons.
That's cool. I've worked at more than one company where we tried to capture that kind of thing in like a internal wiki kind of style, and it's very ad hoc and stuff gets lost and nobody remembers to put things there and then you can't find it when you need it. And so that's cool. I mean, it's very interesting to have like a very like sort of formulaic strategic approach to capturing all that stuff. That's really cool.
Yeah, and automated, right? Like I think like what are the things
Yeah.
humans do badly and machines do really well? It's like automation, so you don't have to think about storing, it just happens.
Yeah. What do you envision the new content manager doing in the first, say, 90 days of their job?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be the first like few days, the first week or so is really going to be getting to really understand who our customers are. So probably doing a bunch of interviews, maybe doing some surveys themselves, going through previous support documentation, going to the communities where these people hang out, and really bathing in that knowledge. I have some goals about what I want to try and achieve in that 90 days, but really it's hopefully collaborating on that to see
Mm-hmm.
what's possible and what's realistic. Um, but hopefully producing some content. I think the easy wins are going to be doing things like from out of those interviews, potentially producing case studies, but then identifying like what are the things that our customers want to learn more about, either our like very well versed researchers or emerging product managers and designers, and going and producing content that meets them where they are.
Yeah, that's cool. I appreciate that you highlighted like the content folks actually getting on the phone with customers, because I think that I've been guilty of this for sure. Just relying so heavily on things like keyword research, and going and creating things, assuming that's what
Mm.
people want to
Mm.
read. But then when you actually get on the phone and talk to them, you realize keyword research would have never led you to the conclusions that you ultimately came to by having face-to-face conversations. So that's great.
Yeah, I'd like to. Ideally, we're finding someone that's able to do both, right? Is able to go
Mm-hmm.
and say like, what is the quant data, the Ahrefs or SEMrush or whatever it is going. What does that tell us that people want and that there's volume for? But then also, yeah, what do our customers actually want? Like, let's actually solve their problems. And by default, we're going to probably be solving a lot more problems. Like these aren't necessarily very unique problems that they have, but
Yeah,
they are big and they're important to solve.
that's cool. What is this person, whoever ends up filling this role, like what have they been up to for the last couple of years that will have prepared them for this? Like, are there certain things you're looking for in work experience, resume, or writing samples too that would make somebody stand out?
Yeah, I mean, I think having experience, having a lot of writing experience, and like having like writing as a craft, I think is important. In terms of um, experience, ideally, it's they have experience writing for a B2B audience. That is who our customers are. It's other businesses. Um, in terms of experience, I think it could come from a range of places, like whether it's maybe they've had experience in an agency type context,
Mm,
maybe it's for another established B2B company and they're looking to get a little bit earlier stage, or they're looking for a role as the first marketing hire, which has the opportunity to scale into all kinds of places.
yeah,
Um, yeah, we're so early in this process. I'll be honest, like we'll know it when we see it, but we're open to all comers.
cool. That's great. It's Chris Hexton, the CEO of Vero, is the testimonial on your homepage, and Chris hired me in 2014 as Vero's first marketing hire. I think the company had 4 people. And it was just a fantastic experience to be that early on in a company, to really help the company like execute this grand vision that the founders had laid out. I learned so much working on a team of that size and a company moving at that pace. And it was just a ton of fun. So a lot of similarities there. I'm assuming this role is remote, but I feel like I should confirm that.
Yeah, remote. We're pretty open, but we much prefer someone that's in US or sorry American time zone. So it could be North America, could be South America Central, could be Canada, US. Um, that's our preference, just because we're here, our customers are here,
Yeah.
mostly in the US, some in Europe, and some in Australia. So it straddles both lines. But apart from that, we're pretty open.
One thing that, as I'm chatting with people about their careers, that they want to know about roles is, where is it going? Like, do I do this for 2 years and it's a launch pad into my next role? Like, do I have to leave to grow, my own career, or can I grow within this company? And so that's a tough question to put you on the spot with, but like, do you have a sense of like what the future of great question looks like and how content might evolve over the next couple of years?
Yeah, so I think one thing that's important to point out with what we're building is this isn't our first rodeo. This isn't our first company. This is will be my fourth company. I've had 3 previous exits before this. And my co-founder and I have been working together for 10 years. In fact, he was best man at my wedding. And so we've learned a lot through doing that. We've been very strategic in how we've gone about building the company for long-term success. And this is the big one. This is the Magnum Carta, I guess, is the phrase. And so, that very deliberate in terms of where we went through Y Combinator very early in the process. We're less than 6 months old now as a company, but already with these, large logos supported from YC. We've now raised out, we haven't announced this yet, but you're first to hear it, raised our seed round,
Nice.
which is going to facilitate this growth. But we're growing at this phenomenal pace. And when you're in a company that's growing at this phenomenal pace, so many opportunities come up. Like you get to go and do whatever. And this is the first marketing hire. It is a content scoped role, but we have big eyes. We have big appetites, and there are so many other things that we want to go and do. We just know that we need to lay this really strong foundation from an SEO, but also from an acquisition, but also from a case study, but also from a internal communication perspective. They could either grow into a larger product marketing manager type role, head of marketing, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
The way that I work with anyone that comes and joins the team is like, I always think about it as like, where do you want to graduate to? Like, what are you trying to achieve as an individual, and how can I help you get there? So how can I shape together? How can we shape this role to help you get that place? So I was talking to someone earlier who was an entrepreneur and wanted to get back into the entrepreneurial game. We wanted to go and learn a bunch more about SaaS and wanted to get a few runs on the board. And so I was like, great. Well, then how do I set you up to propel you into that? But equally, if you want to become a product marketing manager, how do I set you up to become that leader in yourself in that period of time?
I love it. I love it. That's awesome. I will throw out the offer to folks if you're considering applying and you want someone to give your writing samples a quick review or look at your resume or cover letter or anything like that. Hit me up in the Slack community. Just shoot me a DM. I'd be happy to do that. Ned, thank you for your time. I really appreciate you doing this. It helps our community. It will help you, I think, find a great candidate too. So I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Jimmy. Super stoked. Can't wait to meet them.
Cool. Thanks, Ned. Take care.
Cheers.